So now we have a short residual limb that's on there. We're doing the same thing. We're looking for about 20 to, between 30 to 50 millimeters in front of that hub. So watching the toes are somewhat level there. And don't move yet. Go back to there. There you go. Perfect. And so right here we're 35 millimeters where that is, right there. And then we're in front of the knee axis, and so we can take a look at the computer then. So then if we take a look at the computer and we look at that, that's going pretty good there where we're at. So fluctuating between all green and all yellow where we're at there, but the same alignment. Once again, just a very light heel strike. For a shorter residual limb, looks great.
I can't sleep a lot of times. Getting recliner.
So the first thing that I want to make sure is we have the proper flexion angle of the socket. We've already Thomas tested Chris. And then so what I look for initially is where the patient, I have him go ahead and just put your hands down by your side. So the laser here you can see is falling a little bit too far in front of the foot. So in looking at the patient, we want this to fall about 20 millimeters, the laser in front of the knee axis, 20 to 25 millimeters. And we want the laser posture, on the laser posture of the laser, to fall right at the break of the foot shell, which is approximately 30 to 50 millimeters from the midline of the screw. So on this, we already see a forward leaning, a little bit too far forward leaning pylon. So it shows me I have a little bit too much flexion in the socket. So as you see, we extended the socket just a little bit, and this falls into the break here. Now we're going to measure it. You can still see it in front of the knee axis. And so we are approximately 20 millimeters from the knee axis and to the attachment of the center line of the hub. We are there 37 millimeters. And then so now I'm going to hook the patient up to the computer and we're going to take a look at that. On the screen we'll set the proper weight, and we do the typical knee center to black ring and knee center to the ground. On this I always pick foot 1, and we go through here and we see that on him I would just put probably, I wouldn't say he has any hip flexion contracture. I would say he has about normal, about a 10 millimeter heel height that we have here on his shoe. He is a left and medium residual limb length. Alignment recommendations show this. In our static our alignment, we're right here, we're fluctuating between yellow and green at the top. And then that's usually what happens with this. It's pretty easy to align, and I'll show you the reason why in just a second. Because these are independent forward, and they're not connected. The struts are not connected between the forefoot and the heel, and so a lot of the balance is occurring inside of here. Just the same thing that the amputees say when they're on uneven terrain, and how they're able to equalize that because these pieces are moving independently, not throwing one way or another. So as we have the patient walk, I just want a very light heel strike, smooth transition of the pylon. We see that usually will occur. And the other thing that happens with the foot is we allow the foot to stay at foot flat a little bit longer because of the independent forefoot and heel, but still have the energy return because how they're working together with the spring pack. And I think that's really what makes the foot so easy to align. especially with microprocessor knees, because a lot of the ground reaction force is being balanced, and then also at the same time you're getting the push from the spring and not just from the bend of the carbon. How's it feel, Chris?
Feels good.
Karen, Chris was a little shorter of the residual limb. Karen's a little bit longer, a longer AK. And so what we look for, once again, is for the laser to fall in front of the knee axis, approximately about 20 millimeters. And this one here is looking a little too safe, so we're at 27 millimeters now. And then we want 30 to 50 from the midline of the hub. So I just always look at that screw, the attachment portion of the screw. So that's looking pretty good at 40 millimeters there. And this is with sandals on. Karen has, as you can see. On this, once again, we'll select for the foot, the standard foot. Instead of like on the X3 there, we selected foot 1. Then we'll go through here, we'll just do her alignment recommendations real quick. Really no hip flexion contracture. She has a relatively short heel. Let's go like 4 or 5 millimeters there. Left again, and longer residual limb. Look at the alignment recommendations here. On this, we're looking at where she is right now. We are in the green, a little bit of the red recommendation right now. In freezing that, we can see that either the socket's too overly flexed or the foot overly plantar flexed. So now we can go back and look at the patient. And if you can see there, we probably want to dorsiflex her a little bit more with this. And once again, you can kind of see this with the laser. I always look at just a cheating way to do is where it falls in front of the foot shell. And so obviously if you don't have a laser posture, you're going to have to pay more attention to what's built in with the program. And so we're just going to speed you up a little bit. So we're going to dorsiflex it just like it said, just a little bit. Actually, that's great. Just a little bit. All right, go ahead and put your weight on it again. So let me see where that is right now. Now, with the changes that we've made, we're showing kind of where we want to be. And so next we can now walk the patient and take a look at it. Just a light heel strike, good stride, very well balanced, very easy to align. Stance flexion there. So very good.
That feels good.
Once again, we want the alignment, the laser to fall just about 15 to 20 millimeters in front of the knee axis and about 30 to 50. And this is pretty flat shoes that he has on right now. So we'll take a look at that. So we're at 47 millimeters there from that knee axis run. He's a knee disartic and a pretty strong walker. And if we bring to 0, once again, one of the ways I always cheat is that laser should be falling right at the cut of that foot shell. And so now we can take a look at the computers. We select foot 1, and then we go through alignment. Recommendations. He has no flexion contracture. These are pretty low heels that he uses, but most of the time he uses probably about a 10 millimeter heel height, He has a left, he's a knee disarticulation. And so we go under alignment recommendations here. This is what we're seeing. And so if we look at the alignment recommendations here, this is looking pretty good. The only thing that would probably say is we could, the socket would be overly extended or the anterior or too far anterior with correct flexion, or as you see, the foot's overly dorsiflexed here, but everything else looks pretty good. It's a nice light heel strike. Foot responds real well, stays on the ground for a long time. It still gives a tremendous amount of energy return.
Hi, my name's Carolyn. I'm the therapist with MPC. Come on back over. How are you?
Very good, Ronnie.
All right.
All right.